What is going on out there, YouTube? John, the Laser Blue Junkie, back again. And we are finally, as promised, doing my spotlight review of the Donnie Darko 4-disc special edition from Arrow Entertainment. So just a forewarning for you guys, this review will contain spoilers. So if any of you haven't seen the movie, but I'm pretty sure most of you have, tune out right now, skip ahead later on when I talk about the AV presentation. But as it stands, we're going to be getting into the nitty-gritty of this film. So let's start with the brief synopsis of Donnie Darko first, because this is one tough movie to talk about, especially those who really haven't been there, and since the beginning and seen everything. So the main part of the story is that Donnie Darko is your typical teenager. He is a very, very troubled kid. He has very big emotional problems. But he comes from it seems like he comes from a nice family life, living in Middlesex, Virginia. And then, obviously he's going to see a psychiatrist, or he's in therapy, he's taking medication, he's prone to sleepwalking, and he does have a lot of problems. Well, one night, he gets visited by a 6-foot-tall bunny rabbit named Frank that basically tells him the world is going to end in 28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, and 12 seconds. And basically, his whole point of this is to stop the world from ending, because Frank basically says, you're the guy who's going to prevent the world from ending. All of a sudden, a jet engine falls through his room mysteriously while he's not even there, and then a whole bunch of weird stuff just keeps going on in the movie. Like, I'm not really going to try to get into too much, but basically, he starts getting, these weird powers. He starts, Frank tells him to flood the school, for fun. Frank tells him to burn down this motivational speaker's house, but for, pure intentions of exposing something from him. And then basically the whole movie just ends with, 28 days earlier, the whole thing just, it seems like a dream, but it really isn't. It's like Donnie ends up dying at the end, but he basically does save the world. So I guess where you come to the weird thing a lot of people don't seem to understand is that, Donnie Darko is considered a chosen one. He is called the living receiver, and it is basically his responsibility to, set the balance back, because the whole thing is, when that jet engine crashed through his room, that actually created a rift in the space-time continuum, and basically the world would only, his universe became a tangent universe. It went right off track, right off the way it was supposed to. So he basically has to put the universe back in balance, and he has 28 days to do so, or else the world is going to end. So, I mean, like I said, this is just, it's a hard movie to actually talk about. It's one of those things you can't talk about, you can't give a great synopsis of the movie without giving too much away, hence why I said this is a spoiler thing. But, the thing is with Donnie Darko, it is just a phenomenal piece of filmmaking. At its time, it was one of the most original pieces of filmmaking ever to come out. And unfortunately, a lot of people, up until, thank goodness for the advent of home video, because if not for home video, this movie would have never, ever succeeded, because, when the movie was released, it was during the aftermath of 9/11, and, it got a very small theatrical release. It did make a few bucks, but it actually got a big theatrical release in the UK, and that's where it got a lot of notoriety. This movie has a huge following out in the UK compared to out here in the States. I mean, a lot of people love Donnie Darko out here in the United States, but in the UK, they go crazy for that movie. I am telling you, they adore that movie. Hence why, this is the UK special edition. But, my first experiences with Donnie Darko, I will tell you, I remember I rented it, I want to say back in 2002. And like most people, I thought it was good, but I really didn't know what to think of the movie. There was something there, but I really couldn't figure it out. I mean, I know I liked it. That's all I know I liked the movie, but now I love it more than anything else. But, then I liked it. I thought it was a really cool movie. Then a couple years later, I got to bend down here for this one. I went to my local used record store, and I picked this one up for $5.95. Yeah, that's good old discount records back in Chicago, and then found this for a couple bucks. I said, hey, I'll pick it up. It's Donnie Darko, why not? It was a couple years later. And the thing is, Donnie Darko just literally, that DVD sat on my shelf for a long period of time collecting dust. The one thing that really made me start loving this movie a lot, to where, I finally sat back and said, I get it. You know, I get it. I get what the whole thing that he was trying to do. I get it. 10 years ago, I got into a really bad car accident. I almost died, actually. You know, I don't want to bear too much of my soul to you guys, but, you know, this comes in with the love of this movie. You got to trust me on this. So, anyway, I got in a really bad wreck about 10 years ago. And, yeah, I did almost die. You know, my car flipped. I broke my leg in 2 places and I actually cracked the vertebrae in my neck. And had to have surgery and, you know, basically had to start learning how to walk again. And, well, I'm sitting up in my room, you know, like, I'm literally, I can't go anywhere for 4 months. Like, I am housebound 4 months. I couldn't do anything. I had, like, a full beard the first month in because I had a hard collar around my neck. I couldn't take it off. And yeah, I was just so upset and depressed. I mean, luckily I had, you know, some friends. They came by, they visited me, they hung out with me for a little while, you know, but they didn't want to hang out too long because, like, you know, I don't want to say I was a bummer or nothing, but there's not too much you can do with a guy who's laid up with a broken leg and a broken neck in his room. So, you know, and then, like I said, I was just really upset and depressed. I was, you know, questioning a lot of decisions I made in my life up to that point because, like, my life really wasn't going very well. I was, my now wife, I was then estranged from her. Like, me and her weren't really talking anymore, and we had our son, who I barely even saw. Like, he just turned 2 at the time, and I never even saw him, you know, because me and her were fighting consistently and all this stuff. So, you know, it was just a really rough patch in my life. And then on top of that, I get in this car accident, and then it's just like, oh, great, you know, my life is, like, pretty much over. So one day I'm at home, and I pop on Donnie Darko. Like, something tells me, watch this movie. See, I don't know why. Something brought me to it. I don't know what it could be, a mysterious force. I don't know what it is, but something said, grab your copy, Donnie Darko, and watch it. And then I sat back and I watched it, and I was really focused. And, like, when it was all over, I was just like, oh my God, this movie changed my life. Like, honestly, I felt a foreboding sense of renewal. I just felt so much better about myself after I watched this movie again. And it was just like, the sacrifice that this kid made to save everybody, to save the world, what he had to do. And I was like, I just felt so much better about how my life was. And, you know, it's very hard to describe, but it's like, you know what, after that, I just fell in love with this movie, and I got it. Like, it was right there at the moment when I watched that movie, it's like, I get it. I understand what Richard Kelly, the filmmaker, what he was trying to accomplish. So, it's like, it was just so cool, you know, I mean, after that, you know, things were looking up. Like, that night, I watched the movie, I kid you not, 2 more times. Like, I watched again just to keep picking it apart. But, like, after that, life just got so much better. You know, I got my life back together. Me and the mother of my child, who's now my wife, we patched things up. You know, had a good relationship with my son. You know, 4 years later, you know, 4 or 5 years later, we ended up getting married, bought a house, had another kid, and, you know, life goes on. You know, live the American dream. But yeah, I'm not trying to say all because of a movie my life got changed. You know, but I'm saying it helped. It had a little bit of a hand in changing my life and making things a lot better for me, like having a nice house and, you know, being able to share my thoughts and things with you guys on these Blu-ray and DVD reviews. But yeah, I mean, one little movie helped open my eyes to how much better life could be and how much to appreciate life and how much you can appreciate the things you have just by watching this movie. So, but anyway, you know, the thing with Donnie Darko, we're going on to the video history. Like I said, you know, this was the way we had it for a little while. You know, I think back in like 2004, 2005, the director's cut came out. But, you know, like I said, I had only seen bits and, you know, I'd only seen the movie one time. I really didn't care about the director's cut at that point in time. But that was the first one we had for a little while. You know, and then, you know, after the Blu-ray boom, you know, after HD DVD died off and everything like that, after the Blu-ray boom, I remember Donnie Darko ended up coming out on Blu-ray here for the first time in the United States. And this Blu-ray for a while was pretty good. I liked it a lot. I finally saw the director's cut for the first time. And, you know, and then the transfer was good. It was a lot better than a DVD, I'll tell you that right now. But unfortunately, this was one of those things where it was a product of its time. It was, you know, It looked good, but it didn't look great. There just wasn't like a lot of fine details, especially in the background. Like stuff in the foreground looked really good, but the backgrounds just looked horrible. They looked really washed out and muddy. You really couldn't see anything. I mean, but they did look a lot better in the DVD. But then now with this, oh man, this is just one beautiful, beautiful, beautiful transfer. I am telling you, I have never seen Donnie Darko look this good. And I actually did watch this twice just to compare. I watched the theatrical cut and I watched the director's cut 2 days in a row, back to back, you know, just so I could see if there were any differences and, you know, reevaluate what I thought of each cut and everything. So, but yeah, on the whole, this transfer is one beautiful piece of work. Got a 4K restoration courtesy of Arrow Films. Richard Kelly was the supervisor on this one. The backgrounds look great. You can actually see everything in the background. Nothing looks murky. Nothing looks muddy. The picture has a nice, healthy film grain. The colors really pop. The picture is just like anything in the foreground looks amazingly good. It's just like no ghosting effects, no nothing like that. It just looks like, you know, I mean, it's not that old a movie. It's like a 15-year-old movie, now a 16-year-old movie because it came out in 2001. But, you know, the movie's not that old, but, you know, it looks a lot better than it did the first time it came out on Blu-ray. And I mean a lot better. I mean a hell of a lot better. It looks like it's a freaking film print. It looks just an amazing piece of work. Same with the audio. You know, the audio is really, really good. You know, this is a product of the modern era of filmmaking. So, you know, this did get a Dolby Digital. You know, this was shot with 5.1 surround sound in mind. And that being said, this is a very good 5.1 surround soundtrack. Did listen to it in the home theater. Nice activities in the surrounds. Really sounds good. But the cool thing is, like, the dialogue is all hit on the center channel. So it's all hit on the center channel. So, like, you're not really trying to crank your volume up and down just to hear what the characters are trying to say. Everything just sounds like really good. It's a very enveloped mix. It sounds excellent. So, personally, though, now this is the one thing I wanted to talk about. When it comes to the theatrical cut and the director's cut, now, I will say right now that I prefer the theatrical cut. Now, I'm not saying that because this was the movie, you know, that was the second time I saw it, and, you know, that was the version I fell in love with. There are a lot of elements from the director's cut that I like a lot. There are some elements. Now, a lot of people will say, well, what's so different about the director's cut? Well, the short answer is that it's the theatrical cut with Cliff Notes. Basically, it just helps explain the story so much better than they thought so in the theatrical cut. But I prefer the theatrical cut because of the mystery, because you need to figure it out for yourself. You don't need Cliff Notes to help you figure this movie out. If you want Cliff Notes, go buy the Donnie Darko book. And I should have brought that in for the basis of this review. It's sitting in my closet behind me right now. But yes, I have the Donnie Darko book. I bought that immediately right after, you know, my leg was better and I could walk again. But anyway, like I said, I prefer the theatrical cut just because it's a tighter paced film. It feels a lot better. And again, the mystery of figuring everything out and not having everything spelled out for you is what makes your enjoyment of the film so much better. Now, there were a couple of elements from the director's cut that I wish would have been incorporated in the theatrical cut, because Richard Kelly did shoot all these scenes, you know, all together, and this was the initial cut, but then he did have to cut it down to 2 hours to get it into theaters, you know, so. But the two things that I like the most that I wish would have stayed in the movie, the scene where Donnie is with his dad, and Donnie's basically saying, you know, I'm a weirdo, you know, nobody, you know, I'm not going to fit in. And his dad just basically says, look, if anybody tries to tell you that you're a smart kid, you're a great kid, I love you for who you are, and if anybody tells you any different, you know, fuck them. You know, I wish that would have stayed in the frickin' movie. That's just a great scene. And my other favorite scene from the director's cut that I wish would have stayed in was when he sees his therapist for the last time and tells him that the medication he's been taking was a placebo, and that Donnie Darko is not and he's not an atheist, but instead he's an agnostic. So that was a great scene that I wish would have stayed in the theatrical cut, but I understand you have to make sacrifices, you have to do this, you have to do that, so it is what it is. But anyway, moving on to the supplements. Now this is where we get into the good stuff, but there is some bad news to report regarding the supplements. Mostly everything from the 2 prior releases has carried over. Now, when it comes to the American DVD, or excuse me, the American Blu-ray, every piece of supplemental material has been carried over, so you don't have to worry about that. But regarding the original DVD, there are a couple things on here that didn't carry over, such as, where is it? The Philosophy of Time Travel book and the website gallery. Those are like the 2 things that did not make their way over to this Blu-ray due to probably because of rights or something like that. But everything else has carried completely over to this release. So if you have the old Blu-ray, you don't need it anymore pretty much. That is if you're region friendly, of course. But mostly all that stuff is there. Like, there are a couple of new supplements, but they are some really, really good supplements. Biggest one, most of all, Deus Ex Machina, The Philosophy of Donnie Darko, an hour-and-a-half long documentary on the making of this movie, and man, it is one hell of a good documentary, worth the price of purchase alone for this sucker. I watched that documentary, man, and so informative. They got almost everybody. I mean, actor-wise, they couldn't get anybody but James Duvall, and oh well, you know, they couldn't get Jake Gyllenhaal, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Holmes Osborne, Mary McDonnell. Of course, they couldn't get Patrick Swayze for obvious reasons. But, you know, they got who they at least got Richard Kelly, and they got all the producers, minus Drew Barrymore. But they pretty much got everybody to talk about how the movie was made. And it was a cool thing to hear them talk about it, because it's like they got to make the movie they wanted to make with barely any interference. And that was cool. Like, it's not a lot when you get to make the one movie that you really, really, really wanted to make, and you have to make some compromises. He got to make the movie you want to make, which was really awesome. The cool thing is you also get his short film, The Goodbye Place, his 1996 short student film that he did. Then you have, like, everything that was from the original, you know, DVD, original Blu-ray, the Donnie Darko production diary. You've got the deleted scenes the deleted scenes are on the theatrical cut disc, but a lot of those deleted scenes are from the director's cut, so you're not missing too much there. Like I said, you got all the commentary tracks. You've got the you've got the Richard Kelly commentary. You've got the cast and crew commentary. But then on the director's cut, you've got the Kevin Smith commentary. Kevin Smith and Richard Kelly. That is one of the greatest commentary tracks ever. Check that one out. I mean, if you have the Donnie Darko Blu-ray from the American version, that commentary track's in there too. But I'm just saying, I love that commentary to death. I will listen to it all the time. It's just a phenomenal commentary track. I love it to death. You got the Mad World music videos, still galleries, theatrical trailers, TV spots. You know, it is one loaded frickin' set. You know, I figure, you know, while we're doing it, we might as well do a little bit of an unboxing just to let you guys see what it looks like a little bit. So this is what the theatrical cut looks like. You've got these little things right here on my side. That's a little puzzle that you can actually put together. It's a poster. You got the Blu-ray right there, DVD in the back. And then you've got the director's cut, which again, same thing. Then you got, this has a lot of lobby cards and stuff. It's just an envelope full of lobby cards. It's really, really cool. And then, like, the big selling point is the brand new book that has all the, you know, it has big articles about Donnie Darko. It has a foreword by Richard Kelly. Really, really good stuff. There's a little Jake Gyllenhaal forward here from the Donnie Darko book. Really, really cool. So, you know, final thoughts on this thing, man. Well, let's condense it quick, because this review has been nothing but condensed. Yeah, right. Pick it up. Phenomenal, phenomenal Blu-ray. If you are a Donnie Darko fan, you are doing yourself a great disservice in life in not owning this. So the good news is that this will be released over here in the United States. This is currently sold out in England. The whole reason I bought it was because I did not think that this movie was ever going to come out here in the United States in a special edition format such as this, because Fox holds the rights, and they, you know, them and Arrow never really had a relationship together, but I guess overseas, you know, Fox does not hold the rights, so Arrow could do what they wanted. But as soon as I got this in the mail, no less than a couple days afterwards, Arrow made the announcement that said, oh yeah, we're going to release this thing in the United States. Like, great. So I had to buy a Region B locked version, and now I'm probably going to rebuy this again, and it's not a probably, I've already bought it. I ordered it from bullmoose.com. So yeah, I'm getting the American version, so I'm going to probably be getting rid of this one, barring the nothing's been changed, but nothing will be changed, because the Hellraiser box sets were identical. But yes, if you are in the United States, order it, pre-order it, do what you got to do, pick this up. It is one of the best Blu-ray box sets of 2016. Possibly, I want to say probably the best Blu-ray box set of 2016, because it's just one of my all-time favorite movies, and this is something I love to death. So, before I sign off on this review, just wanted to let you guys know that we are currently celebrating my 2-year channel anniversary. Yeah, 2 years strong. Let's keep it going for 3, hopefully. Next week, I will be doing a Laserdisc and Blu-ray update, because I did get some new stuff in from some people. I am getting one more package in this week with a bunch bunch of goodies in it. A nice little 13-pound package I got coming in from New York. So we're going to do a nice Blu-ray a nice Laserdisc and Blu-ray update. And we're actually going to have a contest next week to see if we can get up to 200 subscribers. Maybe I'll give something away. Who knows? You got to stay tuned and you got to find out. And as always, keep it spinning. Talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.